All right, hey there. Welcome, everybody. Chris Franks with Texas West Capital. It's about 5 minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Tuesday, the 13th of April, 2021, here in beautiful Bernie, Texas. It's still beautiful even with the overcast clouds and everything today. It sure does beat living in the city. I know some of y'all like it, but I'll be honest with you. I like the slower pace living outside of town, so... good to see y'all here. Sorry for starting just a few minutes late or a minute late there or whatever. I had a little bit of a, excuse me, there we go, getting that out there, coughing fit because the allergies. So it is what it is. It's that time of year. Hopefully y'all are doing all right, staying safe out there. Who's here already? We've got Mark. What's up, man? Hank's here. Who else? Let's see. Crypto Mowgli checking in. Mr. No-Go, what's up, man? Tell you, Ryder, what's up there, buddy? Devin, man, good to see you checking in. Man, it's been a while. Let me see here. Cue the Oprah memes. You get an all-time high, and you get an all-time high, and everybody gets an all-time high, huh? Oh, man. Data, what's going on, bud? Good to see you here, man. Data, man, I'll tell you what. Data's been with us a bit, and he's really doing so well with his growth as a trader, man. I mean, he posts some really great thoughts there in the Bitcoin channel. Sometimes he goes down way too low in the time frames for me, but he really does a great job, man. A lot of people doing a great job there in Discord, man. It makes me really proud to have you all be a part of what we're doing here. Just seeing you guys grow together, man. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Hey there, Cody. Good to see you. Nevlusian checking in as well. Well, I appreciate you, Mark. I know, right? I do tend to kind of go over there a bit. Hey, French Bull, what's up? Speaking of other people who are doing so well and providing great ideas over there in Discord, French Bull as well there, man. Bianca, good to see you checking in. So, anyway, guys, I talk about it all the time. If you want to join us, howtotradetowin.com. We'd love to have you there. I've done a little update here on the on the side here. I spent most of this weekend trying to find a decent plugin that would work well with our videos and auto update as I post them, whatever. And so, finally got it done this weekend. So sometime this week, all our members, whatever tier they're on, all the videos that are available to them, they'll be able to find on the website and be able to search for whatever specific thing they're looking for. If they're looking for education-wise, they're looking for pivots or, Elliott Wave or something like that, it'll help them. It's just going to be a whole lot easier for you guys to find the content there. As anybody who's been with us knows, we've got a ton of content, guys. I don't know if there's anybody out there really that post anywhere near as much content as we do on a daily basis, especially since I'm pretty much the one doing it by myself. So a lot of content in there, guys. What we charge is just so little for what we actually give y'all there. But I think we still got a few of these left, guys. Let me see here. I had a coupon I talked about last week. Excuse me. Oh, let me see if I can find it here real quick. Yeah, here we go. There's your coupon right there. 35% off Tier 3 annual. And so that works for only for the Tier 3 annual package there, but it gets you down. Your average cost per month is below half of what you would normally cost if you're paying month to month. So if you're serious about learning, guys, we're serious about helping you. And... I would jump on it. Like I said, I've only got a few of these that I've set aside for this year, and we've already blown through quite a few of them already over here in the beginning. So, once we get done with them, we'll be done with them. There won't be that coming on. We might do it again next year, maybe. I don't know yet. We'll see how things go, but you can jump it in there. We've had some great comments here, guys. You can scroll on over to my website here, my Twitter feed here, and kind of see what everybody's talking about here and their opinions. A lot of these guys are in other groups as well, and they've got pretty good opinions of what we're doing here. So we definitely would love to have you guys joining in. All right. Like I said, it's not even so much about me. It's about the great community of traders that we have there. So you can do that right here at howtotradetowin.com. Like I said, those are a first come, first serve as far as those coupons go. So once they're gone, as always, guys, they're gone. That's it. I don't know. Again, we're running out of them. I might have to wait a few months here before I do it again, at least a few months. So this would be the chance, the time to get onto it if that's what you want to do. But anyway, let's go and jump in here. Let me see here. Yeah, Hank, man, I am, man. Very proud of Data. He's really done so well. And Data's just a genuinely nice guy, man. I'll tell you what, we got so many people in Discord that are just genuinely great people. I can't say it enough. I love it. Bill, what's up, buddy? Can I take a look at XRP, USD or something today? Yeah, remind me as we get into this here. Remind me to take a look at it. By the way, guys, for those of you that haven't been around with me for a while, you may not know, but back when everybody was freaking out about XRP, and XRP was heading toward those lows, and they were all scared about it, and I told you, I said, listen, it's too early to get excited, to get so concerned about XRP's legal issue, potential legal issue. I mean, I believe at the end of the day that if anything happens to him, it'll just basically be a slap on the wrist. It'll be a fine. Too many people hold too much XRP, I think, for the SEC to really kind of hurt them real bad, because they'll be hurting a lot of people in doing so. And so I said, if you've got extra money and you're looking for something that probably, we're going to turn out into a pretty good play, you'd buy XRP down there. And here we are today getting up to around, what, $1.80 now? So back when everybody was telling you, Ripple was going, or I say Ripple, XRP was going to, to hell in a handbasket and get rid of it or you were going to get stuck. Your only real concern was just making sure that you had an exchange that you would be able to use to, buy or sell on. But, it's just done. It's done what's expected. It's moved up well. So for those of you that actually held on or bought down there, hey, congratulations, man. Y'all are doing great. Let me see here. Mark, you want me to speak about Doge or BNB as well? Man, BNB, God, we watch BNB USD every day there. We update that every day, for our Tier 2 and Tier 3 members. And, man, I'll tell you what, that thing often enough just blows through our, generally expected targets. So there's always seems to be profit to be made on that one moving up. Definitely can't be hating on it too much. And Doge, you guys know I love Doge. What's crazy is if we look across social media, and, you may not notice this if you're new, but man, oh man, those of us that have been around a while, we tend to notice these things. And what we're noticing is just the people that just keep coming in, people that don't normally trade. And this is important. There's the old adage, the old kind of parable, or, we don't know if it's true or not, but it's been sold as a true story. It's at least a parable. The shoe shine boy, and basically it says, those market tops are noticeable when, basically when people who wouldn't normally be in the markets are giving you financial advice. If you guys haven't heard the story, the parable there of the shoe shine boy, go ahead and check it out sometime. But, it's true. And the idea of what it does is, it just says, listen, tops are usually filled with mania. So people getting in because all of a sudden it seems like you can't lose. Like it's going to go up forever. Everybody's making money except for you. And the FOMO hits and you just can't resist it anymore. And so you jump in. Now that doesn't mean that, the top happens that day or whatever. But what it does mean is there is a changing character in the market. The market participants are changing. You are getting a greater influx of retail traders who have no clue what they're doing. But they're only getting in because of the FOMO. And, when you start seeing people like Carol Baskin and, Soulja Boy and just all these people who don't normally get involved in trading, they have no clue what they're doing. They really don't. But they go in there and they start talking about things, that's usually a clue to, hey, pay attention. Doesn't mean you have to get out right then, but it means you shouldn't be surprised when that price reverses on you. Yet people end up reversed. Retail tends to see, they see other retail getting, they go like, oh yeah, look, everybody's getting in now. So I'm good, I'm fine, right? But, retail generally does not have the kind of depth of pocket or the experience that your professional traders who are already in do. So, man, oh man, just a lot going on there. Let me see here. Tudor, what's up? He says, XRP trial might actually be bullish for XRP. Rumors that they are not allowed to sell their bags anymore. It could be a reason, could be something going in there, sure. But you guys have to remember they were selling their bags, as they made that first run up that I was a part of. So they were selling it back then. Retail always has some kind of nefarious narrative. Everybody's always screwing you, right? I mean, that's what everybody thinks, right? It's always somebody else. It's never you. It's always somebody else that's causing you problems. It's not that you're getting involved in something that you don't understand. It's just that, you should be making money like everybody else claims they're making money, right? I don't know. It's just a lot of the same stuff that you see over and over again. And you see it in all markets, guys. And I often tell you guys, that if you're doing A, B, or C as a new trader, then, you're not special. You're not. You're doing just what everybody else who's a new trader generally does. But that's a good thing, though. This is a time you don't want to be special in that way. Because what that means is you can give yourself a break. You say, okay, you know what? Listen, I screwed up. I did, what everybody else pretty much does, but now I want to do something different and learn how to actually do this. But you have to actually make that choice and that decision and, go through the steps involved to actually make that change. If you see that and you don't choose to change, that's on you. That is completely on you, right? Let me see here. Hank says people getting paid to tweet, they are no more involved than his houseplants. Yeah, guys. By the way, I'm seeing a lot of really, really bad, just completely emotional, no real substance tweets out there lately from larger accounts. Be careful with that. I'm not saying they're all, scumbags or anything. I'm not saying any of them are really scumbags. But you do have to be careful, guys. You do have to understand the environment you're in. When you're here with what's going on with what do you call it here? Just these large accounts on social media. They get paid to say things. Many of them. There's very few things I actually step behind out there. Beyond what we do, Elliott Wave International, I'm a big fan of theirs, but they can be, pricey for people. So I'm always, letting y'all know when they have free stuff going on. Sometimes I get free, I can give you guys access to free content, I guess is what I'm trying to say. One of them, as a matter of fact, it was that Fibonacci's course, right? You guys can check on this. I don't know if this is still running at the moment here, but let me go ahead and get this pulled up here. Let's see here. Right here. Before we get on to this, just in case you're new or maybe you missed the one I think it was last week when we did this. You can go right here. And so this link is that right there. The code is TXWC. And if you put that code, scroll down here and you put that code in right here, TXWC, and you hit apply, then this course that's normally $129 is 4 hours and 16 minutes, which talks about identifying turning points using Fibonacci. You can get that for free if that code is still working there. So definitely something to check out for you guys, all right? Just thought I would bring that up for you. Let me see here. When the 40% correction, Brian says? Yeah, as soon as we get everybody all, that's all crazy in the market to kind of get dumped on for a bit. Is the Dxy Toast? No. Mike, man, hey, I appreciate the question, man, but honestly, anytime anything moves a little bit, all of a sudden, things are bad. No, it's still well above where it would need to be toast. That said, it still hasn't hit the level that it needs to hit, and again, we'll look at that here in just a few minutes, where we need it to get to really kind of say that the bottom's in. But I think it is. Oh, God, if you guys are buying followers like this idiot is saying on here, man, that's just ridiculous. Let me see here. Crypto Mowgli says daily bear div from the end of September on the DXY also. So we'll check that out. When does the Bitcoin crypto market correct or no major correction since institutions getting in now and tons more retail being added every day? Well, that's what everybody would like to believe, right, Mike? You know, I think we've got our wave 3, potentially wave 5, but I think probably just wave 3 coming up here soon. And so we'll talk about that here. But, you know, this idea that institutions are getting in now and tons more retail traders being the tons more retail traders is much more likely, you know, a top condition than anything else. But again, that's what I'm saying. You know, retail traders tend to believe that because a lot of retail is getting in, that's bullish and that's great. Actually, it usually denotes the end of a trend. Now, again, it doesn't have to happen just that day or anything, and it might, you know, it's going to take a while to play out. But it does, when you start seeing retail coming in, you know, heavily, that usually happens at the end for the reasons I explained earlier, as far as the being excited and, you know, and again, and they see everybody else that's like them getting in and they think, hey, I'm doing it right. Nah, you should have been in earlier when we were telling everybody to be in. But how many people actually got in down there around 3,100 when we said this is when you guys need to be in? This is likely the bottom. Who got in at, you know, 5,000 or whatever in March of last year when we were actually doing a play-by-play in Discord, talking about it and saying, yeah, it looks like that's probably it. We're probably good to go now. I mean, you know, not a lot of people really did because people get scared. And, you know, it's understandable. But you have to understand, you know, how markets work and whatnot so that you don't let that fear of that thing kind of just mess up your chances of doing what you're trying to do. Cody says, everything bubble. I'm selling my rental properties. Market is just so frenzied. I'll tell you what, man, real estate, yeah. I tend to keep track of the especially the really high-end real estate. And they are coming into the market en masse, it seems like, lately. So, you know, they're really, really well off, you know, selling their 10 million, 15 million and whatnot properties. And that's just locally here, you know, selling their 8 million, 10 million, 15 million here in, you know, kind of South Texas area, between San Antonio and Houston. A lot of them coming out onto the market. People trying to cash in. You know, and if they thought housing prices were going to continue to go up, there wouldn't be such an influx. But it really is. It looks like really starting to build up. So it would make sense, right? Let's go on TV Canal. Good to see you. Let me see. I'm kind of catch up with you guys. Sky's the limit. Mike is patiently waiting for the correction, and that's the way it is. You know, again, guys. The other thing you have to understand is, you know, with what I do, you know, I give bigger macro thoughts, but those macro thoughts are nothing, first of all, that are guaranteed, but second of all, are guaranteed to happen anytime soon. When you're talking about big macro reversals, you know, when I'm talking about the overall economy and everything, you know, we're talking about at the end of a 90-plus year cycle, it's going to take some time for that to play out. And so you look at the mania with all the commodities just flying up. You know, you had lumber flying, you had copper flying, you know, you had the stock market flying, you have Bitcoin flying, everything just flying up, right? You had gold for a bit, but then gold, you know, fell back. And so you have all that going on, and that's not normal, guys. You have to understand that type of thing where everything is going up at once is not normal. And so when you're in a market and things are happening that aren't normal, that's your clue to be careful. That's your clue to pay attention. And so, you know, we're paying attention, but that doesn't mean you have to immediately take the other side of the trade and just start trying to short every chance you get. You can continue to play the upside. And, you know, that's what we do every day over Texas West Capital, you know, with our daily and intraday updates that we do for all these different instruments that we do. You know, we continue to follow the uptrend as it is. Now, we look at potential tops as it's rising, sure. But, you know, it's always with this idea that, listen, okay, here's where this count is ending. But if it continues up, then there's this alternate count that says it's going to go up here. So you've always got targets continuing higher. But, you know, when you're on Twitter, unfortunately, people don't think beyond their nose usually. Hopefully you guys aren't like that. And, you know, they make silly comments and say idiotic things and make fools of themselves. But it is what it is, right? What's up? What's up, Layton? Good to see you checking in. So let's go ahead and check here real quick where we're at here, guys. So this is Bitcoin. Now, speaking of Twitter, so yesterday, I believe it was yesterday morning. Let me scroll here. Yeah, so yesterday morning here, we were looking at this possibility here. We were looking at either this red count, or this blue count, right? This blue count being A down here, B here, and C here, giving us a an expanded flat kind of thing going on. And so this was in the morning. And, again, we update Bitcoin multiple times a day. So by the afternoon, I was already discussing the possibility of price continuing up instead of coming down here. And we were talking about things like how it was above the pivot and how it needed to drop below this low right here in order to really kind of say it was heading down. And if we didn't get that, then it was probably heading up. And by the evening update, I said, listen, if it's popping up through there, here's our target up here. And I gave them a target up ahead. And so sure enough, last night, man, everybody should have been ready. It popped up and through and, again, heading up toward the target where we were looking at. So now we get into this morning, and here was that move up overnight. Excuse me. Get something to drink here. And so, yeah, things continue to be bullish here. And so this is the good thing, not only about Elliott Wave, but when you understand other things like pivots and, VPVR over here, your volume by price level here. And these things, they help you kind of find out, like for instance, when we're looking at this and we see that, okay, prices moved in sideways between the pivot and R1, even if the count suggests that we may have a potential further downside, we have to balance that with the idea that the pivot is here and we're above the pivot. As long as we remain above the pivot, we're not going down there. This is likely going to be the bottom. So if we don't go below the pivot and instead we go up above the swing high, guess what? This becomes a 1-2 here. This gives you a minimum wave 3 target up here of 67,319. And so that's where we're headed right now. So, if we break out of this ascending channel, that'll really give us a lot of support toward that count. That gives us a minimum wave 5 up here at 69,518. Remember, these are just minimums, guys. They don't have to stop right there. And many times, you'll get that extended overextension there. Now, that's just of this wave 3 here. And so if we actually measure out wave 1 here, and then we look for the 1618 extension for wave 3. Let me see here. Yeah, that gets you up here toward the top end of this green box, up here around 71,170 or so. And so that would get you your wave 3 there. So we look here, we go, okay, well, wave 5 ends right here. So what's going to happen? Well, I think what will happen is wave 3 might overextend a bit, so it'll go up higher. So that'll take wave 5 up higher toward that 71,100, 71,200 kind of area. I think that's what's going to happen. And if we get that, then that gives us a wave 5 up here, minimum, of around 74,500. Now, if this is just the large wave 3, that means we'll have a wave 4 on the pullback, and then we'll have a wave 5. I think it's actually going to be up here closer to this 87,000, minimum, something like that. So, again, we're just kind of working on through this. Actually, this is this 4, but I'm at the larger 4 here. So you'll have, this 3, and then this 4, and then you'll have this 5 heading back up. But in that case, that 5 up should be it. That should be the end of it. Now, are we going to get a blow off top like we usually get? Sure, possibly. But until it happens, until it sets up for that, again, I wouldn't count on it. And what I mean by that is, I wouldn't have that as my expectation before we actually get some things lining up that says, okay, that's probably likely to happen. Because otherwise, you're going to be waiting for that, and you're going to miss a possible. It may be possible that it doesn't do that, and you're sitting there waiting for it to go up. In the meantime, it's just selling into it, coming down, and you're waiting, and you should have sold already. But again, if you go across Twitter, especially the big accounts out there, they get big because they tell you what you want to hear. You're emotionally bullish, so they're going to be emotionally bullish because that's what you want to hear, and for many of them. That's just what they are, emotionally bullish. They don't know any better. And so you follow them, and it's like the blind leading the blind, guys. And it's great as long as price continues to go up. But when price reverses, you end up getting caught. And usually you lose everything you might have made on the way up. That's what usually happens. I mean, that's just the reality of it, guys. Now, are we going to, is this a 3 and then a 4 and a 5? Right now, that's where my count is potentially, but I am in no way married to that count. Right now, I am playing this locally as it's moving up here because of what's potentially going on with the DXY. If that dollar continues up there, it makes it much harder, if not impossible, for Bitcoin to continue to go higher. And so if that's happening, I mean, again, guys, when we look at it, Bitcoin is the riskiest of assets. Everybody says, oh, yeah, it's a risky asset, but, it's going to be okay. It's going to go well even if everything else drops because everybody's going to want to be in it. No. You got to understand that those large accounts that you guys look for, those, Tudor Jones and Saylor and all these guys get in there that you're so excited that they're buying in because that's helping price move up. Well, the problem with that is if price makes a top and comes down, those are the first guys who are likely to be out. They're going to lock in those profits. They are not going to hold. I know Saylor talks a big game, and you know what? Maybe he might feel compelled to try and play it out if it's to happen. But to me, it's the dumbest play at all. To hold up through there, if you're a public company, and then just to ride it down. That doesn't make any sense. You should be, you should effectively be buying and selling along the way where it makes sense. Because you've got shareholders and you've got people that you're beholden to, and so your company, what people think of it and who's going to get involved with it, it's going to be determined by how you act. So, if price were to say hit 100,000 and then that was to be it, it was to come down to, 30,000 over a 2 or 3 year period, and they were just to hold on and lose 70% of their value, I mean, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Who's going to invest in a company that's willing to let the value of what they're holding drop 70%? That's not the way people invest, guys. You shouldn't be investing that way. But speaking of Saylor, so we've got this here. There was this article right here where they're talking about HSBC is going to ban customers from buying MicroStrategy shares because they basically believe that the company is more of a virtual currency holder than anything else anymore. And Reuters, they noted that MicroStrategy's holdings accounts for about, their Bitcoin holdings accounts for about 80% of the company's capitalization. 80%. That's why HSBC is banning their customers from buying into that. Because regardless of what you guys want to believe, regardless of how emotional everybody is online, oh, it's going to go up forever, and it's going to go up so great, and it's going to be, more, it's going to be worth more than any other currency out there, and it's going to be worth more than gold, and all these things that really are talking points, for emotion more than anything else. And so the reality of it, though, is that Bitcoin is very volatile. It's very risky. How do we know? Because every time, because it has these shoots, these strong rises, and these very strong drops afterward. That's how we know. That makes it a risky asset, guys. And so, HSBC doing what they can to keep people from getting involved in that kind of riskiness. I don't know. It probably has more to do with them having to figure out how do they cover whatever happens on things, with as it plays out, if that's were to happen and whatnot. But nonetheless, my point about all this, though, is interesting, is that what I was just saying earlier is that it's great to be bullish and to, following emotionally bullish people are okay as long as Bitcoin's bullish. It's great. It's great for MicroStrategy here that 80% of their company's capitalization is in Bitcoin when Bitcoin's continuing to rise. It's not so great when it drops. When you see that 50%, 80%, 90% drop or whatever. Correction. It's not so good at that point. It's that double-edged sword. It's the other side of that. But again, most people online aren't looking at that. They say, oh, Saylor's out there. He's a prophet. He's a messiah. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You want another understanding of the frenzy that's going on at the moment? It's that kind of nonsense. If you believe that stuff, guys, you need to step back. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to you. I'm saying that because when you start evangelizing, people, with Bitcoin or whatever. I mean, it's absolutely nonsense. Bitcoin is just another tradable asset, guys, and one of the riskiest out there. You can make a lot of good money if you do it right. You can make a lot of good money if you do it wrong, but continuing to do it wrong means you're going to lose all that money and probably more. And we don't want that, right? Manias are fine. It's okay to become involved in a mania as long as you get out in time. The problem is most people don't understand it as a mania. They become so enthralled with this idea that it's going to go up forever and they're going to be so doggone rich. They're spending all these millions and tens of millions of dollars that they've made in their head before they've actually made it. And it makes them unable to accept when the market changes. And this is the problem. This is the fear. And so you've got a lot of people who appear to be doing well right now. Some of them may be. What'll probably happen with most of them is what always happens, and that is they'll end up back where they started or worse off when it's done, because all they knew was how to be emotionally bullish. And that's what you guys got to watch out for. Exactly. Buy the MicroStrategy should be buying a crazy amount of puts. That's what Brian says. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I look at that and I go, man, I can't. I've chronicled, Saylor's MicroStrategy here from 2000, when it hit the 2000 dot-com bubble and its crash after that, and how it's moved since then, and how it's lagged its competitors until it bought Bitcoin. But its competitors were doing fine without it. In a time where everybody was going up, MicroStrategy was just going sideways, which, it goes there and it begs the question, is Saylor really all that great of a CEO? Maybe. But, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me as somebody who would potentially buy into the company. When you're moving sideways during the time of QE, when all your competitors are flying and just leaving you in the dust, and you were one of the biggest prior, it goes, well, what the heck's going on here? And the fact that the only reason they've been rising is because they've been buying Bitcoin really kind of should make you wary about being involved with MicroStrategy more than anything else. It doesn't mean you can't be, but it means you should be extra cautious. Remember, MicroStrategy was one of the largest, performers during the dot-com bubble, and they were also one of the top losers. They lost like 99% of their value at the bottom of the bubble. So, is this going to happen again with Bitcoin? Who knows? But, it's not a great history to be watching. At least not at my point. Again, none of this is, meant to be, really disparaging or whatever, but it's meant to get you to think beyond those simple emotional things that are going on right now that clutter all of social media. So, yeah. Andre says institutions feel safer buying Bitcoin at 60,000 than at 20,000. You'll have to explain what you mean by that. You're answering that maybe because Leighton said there that 750 million worth of Bitcoin left Coinbase yesterday in 2 transactions. Institutions still happy to buy over 60K. Yeah, so here's the other thing. First of all, just because they're buying doesn't mean that they know more than you. Think about how many institutions and otherwise died off in at the dot-com bubble, in the great financial crisis. There are a lot of really big, good players who were killed off with that. So just because they're large and they're buying doesn't mean that they're necessarily all that great at what they're doing here, guys. You got to be careful with that. And remember, especially if they're buying at 60,000, if prices tank all of a sudden, they might be the first ones to drop out. And so you go, oh man, all this great, 700 million worth of Bitcoin left the Coinbase. You might just see 750 million jump right back in. It's so quick and easy to send Bitcoin back into the exchanges. Everybody likes to use this metric that all this Bitcoin is leaving the markets because that seems to be bullish, right? Oh, if there's not so much on the exchanges, then there's not that much supply pressure, right? Instant supply pressure anyway. I tend to think of it another way. Since, if you've been in at least since the beginning of 2017, you'll know that, that there's this whole not your keys, not your coin kind of thing. It's this whole idea of counterparty risk. And then we've seen a lot of exchanges go under. You had Cryptopia went under. You had whatever that exchange was over in Canada where the CEO or whatever died and he had the keys. He was the only one that had the keys to the wallets. Are you kidding me? And so people are generally concerned about that. Counterparty risk is something we talk about a lot at TWC. And so if you take that into consideration, well, yeah, they're going to pull it off the exchange because who knows what's going to happen on the exchange, right? But more importantly, if you're talking about institutions, they have to custody somewhere. And so that's going to involve taking it off the exchange. I don't think that that's necessarily exceedingly bullish. I don't think it's like, oh, they're pulling off because, man, they don't believe it's going to go down anytime soon. I think it's more of a function of either reducing counterparty risk and or, custody, sending in custody somewhere else. So, yeah. Quadrica, Quadrica. Okay, that's what it was over there in Canada. So yeah, but you don't see anybody talking about this, right? All you see is everybody going, "Oh, look, more coins are leaving the exchange," as if that means something in and of itself. It could potentially mean what they're trying to say, but there's no way that anything on there guarantees that. And when you consider what's happened over the last, 2021 here, so over the last 3 to 4 years, with all the money being lost. With the exchanges being hacked and exchanges going under and all these other things going on. I mean, to me, it makes a lot of sense, especially if you're an institution. Oh, by the way, that's the other thing. They got a custody somewhere. They can't just leave it on the exchange like that. So that makes a lot more sense. Some of it could be the other part of it, sure. But I think if you just automatically assume that bullish emotional answer there, I think it's going to get you in a lot of trouble. So yeah, just something to think about. Institutions happy to buy over 60K has got to be more bullish than bearish. Sure, locally. I mean, if they buy at 60 and it goes to 65 and they sell, they made 5,000 a Bitcoin times what? 1,000 Bitcoin? 10,000 Bitcoin, whatever they bought. So yeah, I mean, they made a great profit. $5,000 move, made a great profit. Almost 10% there, right? I think people are just reading way too much. Again, it's this idea that because institutions are coming in, that all institutions are interested, which first of all is not true. And that because they're coming in, it's only bullish. No, sure, it's bullish when they buy. It's very bearish when they sell. It's a lot of concentrated Bitcoin, like a lot of concentrated supply that can hit the market at once, guys. And not just with one of them, but with multiples of them. And retail does not have the means to soak that up and continue it up. But, again, this is what most traders aren't considering. Now, again, that doesn't mean you can't buy and go up. We're still buying and holding and going up. Yeah, we're still doing that. But you have to be aware of what's really going on or what could really potentially be going on instead of just be locked into this echo chamber where everything's bullish all the time. I mean, that's the goal, is just to make sure that the goal in all of this, guys, is just to make sure you keep that money that you're working so hard to get, right? Why do they have to trade it, though? They know it can crash 80%, but in the long term gains value. So can't they just invest in it with a 10-year time frame? Well, sure they could. But first of all, you're making a lot of assumptions. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but 10 years in is not a big bit. The other thing to understand there is Bitcoin's never been through an economic downturn, a recession or a depression or anything. So there is absolutely no understanding of what's going to happen in there. What we do know is highly risky assets tend to do the worst in depressions and recessions and stuff because they're the first ones out. People don't want to be in them because they're so risky. So they drop a lot harder and a lot faster than everything else. You make the assumption in the long term it gains value. Well, it has so far. And we hope that it will continue to do so, but there's no guarantee. So if you're a company who's putting in 500 million or $1 billion or something, and it goes down and it never returns to that value, I mean, what have you done? You've effectively lost all that money, right? Well, you didn't have to lose the whole thing. But if it drops down, if it hits, let's say 100,000 and it drops 90% to 10,000 and the best it ever does after that is 30,000, you lost 70,000 times however many Bitcoin that you had. And you sit there and you might say, oh, well, that's not going to happen because look in the past. Again, guys, Bitcoin's only been around during this hyper bull market here, this from the great financial crisis after that till now, where everything's inflated because of QE, where all assets have inflated because of QE. But if this is the credit bubble, if this is the everything bubble, there's no guarantee that Bitcoin will survive. I hope it will. I've got my investment in because I believe it will. But you have to be realistic about it. And when you've got hundreds of billions of dollars on the line in your company's, again, you're looking for people to invest in your company, shareholders, to come in, right? And if you're losing money like that, shareholders aren't going to trust you. They're not going to come in, and your company could collapse as a result. Not even from the loss of what they would lose with the Bitcoin, but just from the fact that people wouldn't get back into them because they think there's shoddy management. So, yeah. So you wouldn't say Bitcoin is proven until we go through an economic depression, which can take years to come, or can be this year. Yeah, I don't know that it's even proven at that point. Again, you have to see how it plays out. It's, Bitcoin is no different than any other asset out there, guys. And I know this really kind of frustrates a lot of y'all. I know you're very emotionally bullish. I get that. But I'm trying to get you to be realistic about what's going on. Because again, as I continue to say, the goal is to keep your money that you've made. I mean, God, think how terrible that'd be. It goes up there to 100 grand, you don't sell because you think it's going up there. It drops down to 10 or 20 grand and then it stays there. Never makes it back up there. That was the height of the high. And, everybody moves on to something else, some other derivative of it maybe. I mean, I can't think of much worse than that. That's a pretty awful feeling. Years and years and years, you continue to hold and wait and hold and wait and hold and wait and it never goes back up. I'm not saying it's going to, but I'm saying that reality is a possibility, guys. And you have to be prepared for that. You can still trade and hold and invest in all these things, which is great, but you have to be honest with yourself about what the possibilities are. Otherwise, you get stuck with that when you could have avoided it. I appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, again, guys, I'm bullish on Bitcoin overall. Again, I still hold from 2017, January 2017, when we first came in. I've still got my investment portfolio from that we've still got from that and Ethereum and Litecoin. The only thing out of that I've sold was the XRP there back in, that I bought in April or May or whatever of 2017 and then sold there around December of 2017. But the rest of the stuff I'm still holding in there as far as a longer term. So, my hope is that it continues up. And I don't see anything happening at the moment that says it will necessarily not continue up. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be blindly bullish out there and emotional and just completely ignore the other possibilities and not make sure that I, lock in my profits at some point, guys. You don't get to do this for 25 years without learning how to be neutral in a market. You've got to be. Otherwise, again, I see it all the time, guys. I've seen it over the years, all the different markets. It happens to the same types of people all the time. And it happens more than it doesn't. The people go in and they've got great profit and they end up losing it all because they just thought it couldn't stop. They were all emotionally bullish. It was going to go up forever. So they never effectively protected themselves. Let me see here. On the contrary, what if after this bull market, it reaches 280,000 and then retraces to 50? Any institutions buying now are in profit in the worst case scenario. Sure. But again, there's no guarantee. This is the thing. You guys are thinking very bullishly without thinking of the other side of it. Your response is always, yeah, but what if this other bullish scenario? It's never an acceptance of, okay, it may not do these things. It's always trying to find another bullish reason. And again, that's fine as long as things continue to be bullish, but, when they're not, that's what causes the loss and great losses. And so these are things that you want to pay attention, you want to understand, and as things are going well, are you constantly arguing with the other side of it? Are you constantly saying, the market's showing you it's bullish, but are you constantly saying, oh, well, it can't possibly do anything different? Or if it, what if it goes way up here and then it comes back and then they're still in profit overall? Yeah, it's a possibility, sure. I mean, the market's bullish going up, right? But are you able to effectively understand the other side? Are you effectively able to understand the what if? That's the thing. That's where you guys want to make sure that you can do. Let's see here. Mike's thinking about long-term inflation. Yeah, possibly. But, again, we'll see how this all turns out. If the DXY continues higher, there's not inflation that's going to be coming in, right? So what are we looking at here? Well, right now, let me just zoom out to the daily here. So here's the dollar. I mean, I don't know. The fact that this automatically looks bearish to people, to me, is an emotional tell. Right now, I've got a leading diagonal here. And so, if we don't get a reversal at 38.2, but right now, what I'm looking at, just to keep you guys up to date here, I'm looking at this at this point now, is probably an A, and then we'll have a B, and then we'll have a C. And so whether that C is here at 50% or down here at 61.8, I think that's it, and then we're good to go off that. So I think we're just correcting right here in a wave 2. There is nothing going on here right now that says, oh, this is so bearish and whatnot. I think people that are saying this bearish, again, they're emotional, they want it to be bearish. And then they go, okay, well, look, it hit this cluster here and it got rejected. So that's why it's going down to lower lows now. Well, no, realistically, if it's a reversal, your first 5 waves up are going to hit that cluster, and then it's going to pull back, and then it would push through it. They wouldn't just usually sail right through it. It would hit the area, pull back, and head up. But what we need is that move to the top of this cluster here, this wave 4 at 94.742. If we get above that and you're being bearish on DXY, I just don't have any time for you at that point. There's no reason to be at that point. As long as we're here, yeah, it's possible it could go down. It could make a new lower low. But realistically, that would be just this wave 5 if it was to do that. But even until that point, it's still got to prove it's not just a 1-2 right here. This is a clean leading diagonal here. And, the pairs that make up the DXY are, they're looking like they're just a clean 1-2 as well. Euro USD, USD Yen, Great British Pound USD, USD Swissy. Got to think of all of them there. Anyway, yeah, so, they're all kind of just, there's nothing going on with any of them that says, hey, I'm worried that this is, just a pullback before, on the other one's a higher high or whatever, or this one, a lower low here. There's nothing showing up on there that makes that a case right now. All right, so daily. Thoughts on the multiple divergences on the daily. Higher price and lower highs on RSI. I've got higher highs, RSI. So not sure what you're referring to there, Buenhuevas. Excuse me. Unless you're trying, I guess, to talk about this back here, but that's not a real divergence there. You've got all these other peaks for the year prior, all in there. The daily right here is this on the DXY is right here. This is where you would look for the divergence, and there is not one. This is just higher highs in line with higher highs in price. No, I'm not emotionally bullish on the DXY. So, I mean, Buenhuevas, you'll have to explain to me what you think there as far as that goes. If I was emotionally bullish on the DXY, I would say there's no way it can't go down here. I wouldn't have said as long as it's below this point here, it's still vulnerable to falling lower. If I was bullish on the DXY, I would not have said that. I would have said, this is the way it is. That's all there is to it. That's it. If I was emotionally bullish. You guys need to check yourselves. But until it proves that this is not what it is here, the locally here, the onus is on the bears to show that it's not bullish off the lows here. But, again, we've talked about other things. Usually currencies have macro reverses at the beginning of the year. This is the beginning of the year here, which I don't think many of y'all know that. I've mentioned it a few times. Down here, dollar bears were almost at their greatest level ever. Markets tend not to continue to reward that type of behavior that far off sides. Significantly off sides, like 90% off sides. And so again, right there. So, those are usually signs of a macro reversal historically. If we zoom out, look at where we're bouncing here. This is the monthly. This is that monthly demand structure here. Shot up through it, came back, retested it as support. Came up, bounced off the top of it now. Heading up. There's nothing emotionally bullish about these things I'm talking about. This is the reality of what it is. This right here was an effective check of this resistance as support. And we came back down, and then we hit the resistance up here, came back down, bounced off the top of this demand here, pushing back up on the monthly here. By the way, monthly, here's another thing. From, what is this? February of 2018 to January of this year, hidden bullish divergence. Continuation of the trend, right? So none of that is emotionally bullish, guys. Just because somebody says something that bothers your emotional bullish attachment to Bitcoin or something, or the stock market or whatever, doesn't mean that they're being emotionally bullish on their thing. These are realistic, very real reasons. Things you should watch, things that make sense. So, just kind of, just kind of putting that out there, guys. I don't want you to get confused on what you're looking at and what you're talking about, things that are going on. But as I said, until we get above this 94.742 area up here, price is vulnerable to fall lower. Locally, even if you take all that other stuff away, this is a ABC 1, ABC 2, ABC 3, 5, whatever. So ABC 1, 2, ABC 3, 4, ABC 5. That is a leading diagonal. Quite possibly. Again, can't guarantee it until price drops down, then pushes above the top there. But it doesn't get much cleaner than that. So we'll look for the reversal here in the head on up. Always with the idea that it could head down and drop below there, though. But, right now, dropping below this swing low at this point is not the most likely thing to happen. Now, if it breaks down below, your 61.8, your 70.5, if you're getting down here around 90%, then you start going, okay, well, at that point, we've missed these areas where we should have reversed. And even though we haven't yet dropped below, we're likely to drop below. So, yeah. Not a bear div from the 25th of September high to the recent swing low. 25th of September. Let me see here. This one right here. No, I wouldn't look at that right there. This is so when you look at this, how's best to explain this? Okay, you can look at it locally here. But the problem is when you're doing this, you've got this reversal here and you've got a high and a high and a high. So, you've got off this bottom, off the reset down here into oversold, you've got 3 subsequent higher highs. So you shouldn't be really kind of testing that against this previous area back over here. Prices made its reversal all the way back down into oversold. And so then that created this bullish divergence here and oversold at the reversal. That's the play right there. Or almost at the reversal there. And then they had the other bullish continuation of that divergence right here as you finish off that last little bit. That's the play right there. And now you got to look here between these highs because you had this strong drop there. So like from here to here, this high to this high, you got lower highs. And then you got lower lows. Until you started getting from this point here, from down here and oversold to here, down here and oversold, you know, you've got that divergence coming off there. Now, like I said, you can lean toward potentially some see, I hate it because there's this huge move up here and pull back. So there's a huge elbow in there, which makes it really not. If you're going to look at that, I think maybe you look at this as just like a local kind of pullback. I think it's kind of where you look at it. But again, I wouldn't look at that right there because you've got this large point right here. You see this big one right here? So you go from here down here to this one back up. You get that. I guess you're looking from where? From back over here? Yeah, you know, and so this is you have this move all the way down and then this big move up and big move back down and then a move up. And, you know, you would kind of just finish it out there. This reversal right here kind of sets you up. I hope that makes sense. Oh, okay, it does make sense. Good, good. So, yeah. Bianca, hey, you just joined Tier 3, paid for with your first crypto profit. That's amazing. Glad to have you checking in. That's exciting. For sure, man. Congratulations. Gosh, man, you know, it's exciting when we get new people in. I mean, again, until you're actually in there and you're, you know, chatting about with everybody, you don't really understand how great a place it is. It's a great little community of traders. But anyway, so yeah, you know, we'll see how this plays out. But for right now, you know, with this likely, you know, what do you call this here? Leading diagonal. You know, if it's not, here's the thing, if it's not a leading diagonal, and this is the top, and so like this would be 3, this would be 4, and this would be 5 still to go, then this has to be an ABC. And so how does this become an ABC here? You know, we've got an ABC there. We've got an ABC here, but it doesn't drop back 90%, so it's not a flat. Maybe WXY. You know, maybe an ABC is a W, I'm sorry, and then an X. Well, then the problem is, you know, this has to be a Y here, maybe. But then you have to get 5 here and 5 here. You know, and so it just means you have to go a lot deeper in there and find some quirks in the count to kind of make it play out there. So it's just easier to kind of step back and look at this as a potential reversal going on here. You know, something similar to this here, and then moving on up. Which gives it room for, you know, Bitcoin here to head up. Yeah, I mean, you know, again, it gives us this room here to head up toward this, you know, this 67,319 kind of target up here on Kraken. Let me go ahead and pull up XRP real quick while I'm thinking about it, since that was asked earlier. Let's see here. This is one of the ones we keep up with every day there for our tier 2 and tier 3 members. Look at that, just going up there. Man, totally blowing out targets again. Oh, wait, no, this is the wrong one. Sorry. Let me see here. This was the old one. See, it blew out our old targets there. Went up higher. And let me see here. Where am I at? Ah, there we go. This is our current chart from yesterday. So from yesterday, kind of hit our target. Sorry, guys, give me just a minute here. All right. And so, let's see, where are we probably at here? Bad time to FOMO into XRP. Yeah, I think we're near. We should be nearing wave one's end here. Leighton says Bitcoin just broke into the top 10 global currencies ahead of the loonie and the Aussie. Well, yeah, if you consider it a currency, I don't consider it a currency. It's way too volatile right now to be a currency. Yeah. Let me see here. Ballistic says, I'm waiting for stimulus and tax season to get priced in. Once we get an end to the freebies, I think the markets will change behavior and lead to some resolution. Yeah, here's the thing, guys. It can't continue up forever like it is. It can continue on longer than you think it will, but it can't, it can't continue forever. Especially this extreme of what's going on here across the markets. Now, if we look at this right here, let me see here. So I had a 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see, what's the high here? 14, 15, 89. 14, 19, so there's the high there. It's possible, let me see here, that we actually have a triangle that played out here. So this would be an A, B, C, D, E here. Kind of like that. And like that going on there. Which would give us a 4 over here. Which means that at this point here of wave 5 here, we've got a 1, 2, which makes this a 3 coming up here, right? So if this is a 1, 2, we're at the 2, 6, 1, 8, almost the 3 there. If it continues going up, we'll look at the 1.9, 29, 69 areas as potential wave 3 there. What are we looking at here? We've got on the 4 hour here potential bearish divergence between this wave 3 and where we are at the moment. We can note that volume's dropping off. So definitely tells us we're probably getting late in the movement here. Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, it's already gone past the 2.2618, so usually we're going to look at that 3.618. It could have ended right around here, though. But just generally now, if it did end probably right about here, that would give us then, let's see here. Yeah, that gives us a 61. So 38.2 right here, the R1 pivot. That makes a lot of sense for a wave 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And it gives us a minimum 5 here at 1.94442. Could see an overextension up here, whether it's wave 3 still going or wave 4 pulls back. Then we get a wave 5 up here around the R2 pivot at $2.03. That's kind of where I'd look at next. See if we can get it finished up around there with it. But yeah, again, we talked about way back over here when everybody was scared and thinking, that it was going to be, to go into nothingness here. And that's what we were talking about. Listen, there's going to be people that are going to buy down here. I guess it would probably been over here, right? And do really well. Yeah, this was the sell-off here, I think, from the whole Coinbase or the XRP thing. And so that was down there, under 20 cents. And had you bought there, you'd be up almost, 10 times almost now. But, again, it's just one of those things you have to work through as a trader. You've got to, it's hard, and you've got to be smart about it. You can't just buy in and hope it goes up. You buy in and you think, okay, it may go up, but at what point, am I going to be invalidated? What things am I looking for and all that? So we've made the pattern target based on this channel here with this cluster. So we should have that last one finishing up there toward that ever. Let me see here. Volatility level is not what makes good money, only in the context of modern currency. However, Bitcoin is not a predictable money. I think you're trying to say quasi-commodity, Lightning Network, et cetera, is BS. Volatility level is not what makes a good money. Well, you're not going to have a good money if your volatility is sky high. People have to, listen, guys, get beyond your bullish belief about Bitcoin and whatnot. If you have money, you want to know that tomorrow it will be relatively the same as what it was today. You don't want to wake up tomorrow and find out that your money is worth 75 cents on a dollar overnight, or 80 cents on a dollar overnight. Yes, inflation. Yes, debasing of currency since 1916. Yes, I get that. But that's not overnight. That you're not losing, 10, 20% overnight. It's a trickled in inflation there, And so this becomes especially more readily important when you think about developing or emerging economies where people are very poor, and they need some stability in their monetary value so that they don't have to try and spend it that day with nothing left to show for it other than, they have to spend it that day to get food, but then, okay, so they're going to waste anything that they don't need to spend that day, right? So maybe you buy extra food, but you buy extra food that maybe goes rotten before you can eat it. Volatility is very important for a currency. What's going on, Block Tech? Good to see you. Let me see here. This time it's different, Mr. Nogo says. Yeah, the scariest set of words there in the market, right? Where will Wave 2 correction likely be? What Wave 2? Sean, I don't know what Wave 2 you're talking about. I think we're looking at probably completing Wave 4. Or are you talking about for XRP? For XRP. Let me see here. If we're looking at this, this right here, this would just be minimally, depending on how you want to count it here coming off. If this is one up here, whether it's one of three or whatever, I mean, it just depends on where it ends. I mean, if we're getting up here to the R2 pivot, it makes, look at this right here, this 61.8 right here in this area here, the 50%. I mean, I think that makes a pretty good target. Initially is that 87 to 95 cent area. Just based on where it is at the moment, I think that makes a good, and potentially going up there to R2. If it goes from where it is here, you have 50% again in there. But it would make sense that it bounces around the top of this range here. It would make sense. If this is going to be bullish, then it should bounce right around here. So that would make sense. That's where I would look right now. But we'll have to see how this continues playing out first. Here. How does it look on the larger time frames? We do have this bearish divergence on the daily here in oversold and overbought. Popping up locally there. We've got Stochar RSI here that says it could pop up a little bit higher, get back up and overbought potentially. We've run the pivots. Let's see here, 3-day. 3-day has a larger, let me see here, potential bearish divergence here. Though again, with this right here, it makes me iffy. I don't like the large move up followed by a large move down and then to head up there. So I'm iffy on calling this a bearish divergence. Weekly's got more of a claim toward that bearish divergence because it's a much larger time frame than the 3-day. I'm still iffy about that, but we're still well overbought here on that weekly. And by the way, notice on the weekly here we've hit the R5 pivot. So we should likely be finishing out that advance here as it is. Off this move down, price has reached Let me see here. Has reached the 50% retracement so far. 61.8 is right there around $2.12. As it comes up here, I think we've got this supply structure up here in this wick. And I think we're likely to maybe get a rejection somewhere in the lower half of this. So maybe around 278 to 304 in that area. I think we're likely maybe to get a rejection in there. Some pullback. So maybe you have to get this up here, push it up a little bit further. Let me see here. Yeah, see right now we're about the 2618 extension there. So again, you know, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get that 5 right up here near the end. And then we get the pullback. And then, you know, that's a 1, 2, and then a larger push through becomes a 3. So I would watch that as this continues to play out here. But this is looking like 5 waves just about done from this December 28th low here. And let's see here if we do that. I don't know if that is a wave 3 right around there. Let's say we get out. Let's say it makes it up to about $1.90 area or so. That gives us a pullback toward here. So wave 4. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Wave 4 would pull back to wave 4 of the lesser degree, which is what we generally look for. So right there around that, potentially around that R3 weekly pivot there. Around $1.30. If it's to be a wave 3. Again, it just depends on where it ends here. But that would get you potentially a wave 5 at 236. You can get a 1-to-1 up here. I don't know, with this overextending, often wave 5 will be equal to wave 1. So if we measure out this wave 1, again, wouldn't give us much of a move up there, around $2. $1.97 would be potentially that top there. So we'll have to see how it pushes up here and how far we get that pullback. Do we get it to this R3 pivot here? And then we'll have to look at that first wave off of that, off that to really kind of get an idea of where that wave 5 is ultimately going to head on that. So yeah. Right now, though, I think we're probably getting pretty close to this 5 waves up off that December low there. Let me see here. Tomorrow's the Coinbase IPO. Well, that will be somewhat significant. Any thoughts? You know, people are going to get into it thinking it's going to be a great thing. And, you know, if things were to continue going up, it's probably a good place to potentially be in terms of getting exposure to crypto without buying crypto. But it's also potentially, you know, one of those signals that the top is in or very near, you know, in the global markets and all the markets. You know, again, it's this idea of socioeconomic theory, guys, and following what's going on and the hype and the hysteria around all the markets and everything. You know, not just Bitcoin, stock markets, Bitcoin, what's going on with bonds, all these things, what's going on with governments, you know, the things that are going on, this pandemic thing. I mean, geez, you know, there's a lot going on at the moment, which you know, everybody seems to believe they're being shortchanged by everybody else. Everybody is demanding special privileges. They're saying, oh, it's not fair. We're not treated equally, so we want special privileges. But it's about special privileges, not about being treated equally. You know, and so we get to this, and, you know, all this kind of suggests that there's a changing in the social mood going on. And if there is, it's going to take the market with it. It's going to change the market with it. So when you look at the markets and you see all this greed and this hysteria and this euphoria, and then you see, you know, Bitcoin's on the cover, you know, of whatever it was, Barron's or I don't remember what it was here recently. And they were talking about, oh, is Bitcoin going to take out the other currencies in the world? And you see all that stuff. And again, usually these are signs of excess, just in thought and in expectation and all that. And so, the Coinbase IPO, it might be one of those things where people buy in and that ends up being the top. It marks the top. It's one of those things that adds to it. I'm personally not interested in it. I'm not really interested in a lot of IPOs, guys. I trade what's already there. I like to see things that have some kind of history. Otherwise, you're just buying and hoping. And if you don't get in prior to the initial sale, then you're really on those hopes and dreams of others, and you're really hoping that they do follow through and do it. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of IPOs in general. I think it's Wall Street likes them because Wall Street can get in before you can. So that should tell you all you need to know about IPOs, guys. In general. Can you make money on them? Sure, you can make money on anything in the markets, guys. But how much more difficult is it to make money on it? That's the question. So yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, direct listing, not IPO. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, it's a direct listing, not an IPO. But it gets me, we still have our issues with them as businesses that use their business service. Texas West Capital, man, we have issues with them right now. We're going on over, we still can't retrieve money that we have in USDC on there. It takes them 3 to 4 weeks just to respond to an email. These are the guys who are going public, guys. And they can't even do something as simple as customer service. And yes, it is simple. Yeah, you got to bring in more people. It really is that simple. There is no reason, guys, if you are made to believe by these companies today that it's normal that you should have to wait weeks and weeks for customer service, that's just BS. And, that's from a business owner. But again, as a business that runs a lot of money through, and we're sitting here for, a month or more, not even getting a response on from support, from tech support to our email. No one, and there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to sit here and wait. Absolutely stupid. Yeah, valuations are just stupid these days, man. They really are. It's just, again, I think it's just a product of that whole excess that's going on at the moment. Let me see here. Let me kind of catch up here. What else we got here real quick? Yeah, not getting email answers is the worst. Yeah, it's absolutely just frustrating. Especially in our case where we've got a limited bit of Ethereum in there just so we can transfer that stupid USDC. And Ethereum, prices are the gas prices are going through the roof. So we can only pull it out when the Ethereum price, the gas prices drop enough. But every time we try to do it, it errors out on us and it won't let us do it. And that's what my issue is right now. So yeah, so it's not even like, oh, they can fix it and then right away we can go ahead and, move our money. We can't until those gas prices drop back down. It's just silly. Thankfully, it's in USDC, so at least we're not losing value on it. But the fact that we can't access it is just absolutely ridiculous for months on end. Leighton and I agree, man, and it's not even just the customer service on the exchanges. I've had a few issues with businesses over the last few months. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's the pandemic, and it's the holidays, and I'm like, no, it's not all that. There's no reason I should have to wait 3 to 4 weeks to get, customer service. It's absolutely stupid. There's no reason, right? Welcome to Millennials in Charge, Tell Your Writer says. Okay, guys, let me go jump here real quick. Let's look here. Gold real quick. Let's take a look at what gold's doing. Did you just type that? You sure did, man. Oh, let me see here. Get on there. There we go. Here we go. So gold right here, we're still looking at the possibility of a flat correction being done. And so what we need to see is a drop below the, this is the daily pivot, right around 1715. If we can get a drop below that, that should indicate that that we are done with this flat correction and we're headed down here toward, 1631 or so, at least for this wave 3. But if we continue to push up above this swing high, above the R1 pivot here, we could potentially see wave C finishing out a bit higher. But it would have to reverse prior to this wave apostrophe, or I'm sorry, parentheses 1 here, Roman numeral 1 at 1784.60. It'll have to return, it'll have to come down before that. If it pushes up above that, we'll have to check the count a bit, but still nothing that would go on if it went above that that says this is not still bearish heading down. If it does continue up through that, see, I wouldn't look at this as a double bottom here because it pushed up above the swing high and then came right back down into it. And so, a real double bottom pattern should be a breakout, come back to retest that resistance as support, and then head up. But it broke a little bit, but it broke above it. So that should, invalidate this as the double bottom here. Let me see here. Yeah, oh, crypto Mackin? Yeah, I was just answering that. As far as the double bottom goes, I'm not a fan of this as a pattern because, again, it broke out above the high, right there between it, and then pulled right back down into it. So it violated the high and came back down into it. And it should violate it, head up, come back, retest it, and then head up. But it didn't. So I wouldn't look at that as a double bottom there. Every single big name in gold mining is screaming double bottom on gold. Are they? Yeah, I don't think that's a double bottom right there again with that breakout there. If you want to think it is, your target, would have to be then based on the height of the pattern there. Yeah, right up there around 1837.70. But, even with that, that's potentially, this is, maybe a 1-2, and this becomes a 1-2 here. So maybe this is some kind of leading diagonal, 1-2, 1-2 with the leading diagonal. And so that's a 2 there, and then comes back. So, I mean, really what you need to see, if you want to be bullish on gold, the first thing you're going to have to see is a breakout above this swing high up here at 1962.50. That's really your level you've got to get to. If you can get above that, it increases the odds that this is some sort of bottom here and we're potentially going into a higher high here. But it still doesn't guarantee it. But you definitely would need to see it because what you would be looking at as an ABC or a WXY, whatever you want to look at it here. And so getting above that mid movement, that B or that X here is what you would need. As long as you're below that, then even if you're trying to be bullish, you're still vulnerable to price heading lower down. And look left, just with the DXY. Yeah, it's bouncing right here. You would expect that, yeah. You usually expect a triangle area to give you support. So, yeah, possibly, but, again, until you're getting above that, still very vulnerable to the downside. So you would really need that move above that to really start feeling bullish on it. Let me see here. So that's that. And yeah, I'll definitely, change that count if we're getting above that area. Sure. Onyx King's waiting for way lower gold prices. Me too. We'll see if we get it. But so far, it's already, retraced so much lower than anybody thought it would. So we'll just see if we can get some continuation down through that swing low there. Let me see here. If we look at oil here, oil's been a thing, right? Even in Texas, we're kind of frustrated with oil prices. Let me see here. Oh, man. There we go. Discord kind of Froze up on me for a minute there. Where are we at? Gold. Or oil, I'm sorry. What's going on with gold? Oil, geez, I just kept talking about gold. Yeah, so here's what I'm kind of looking at gold at the moment here. So I've got this triangle thing going on here as a potential wave 4. What did I do with my wave 4? Oh, there it is. It's up here. Yeah, so right there. So, kind of get you this 1, expanded flat for a 2, leading diagonals a 1, then a 2, and then 3 down here, 4 up here, 5. Gives you 3 with a large triangle, potentially. Again, gives you A, B, C, D, and then E. And what we need is, we've had this advance this morning. This advance needs to stay below this swing high here. So this wave E swing high on oil is at $60.77. So it has to stay below that. If it goes above that, that should invalidate the triangle, because I don't think it's going to stay below wave C here. So if it does head up there, then we've got a potential, this is potentially maybe a 3 instead of a 5 up here. This is a 3, this is a 4, and then this is some crazy 1, 2, 3, whatever, heading up here for a 5. You've got this possible channel here that this might be a breakout of, and so that pattern target based on the height of the channel there is up to around 66.72. So if we're getting above that wave E, I might start looking up there around 66.72, but it would ultimately then be looking for it to head higher there, or it should. So, but if it does break down from here and drop here below this pivot here on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, and then gets below wave D here at 58.12 without going above wave E, so pretty much turning around from here and coming down, then our pattern target based on the height of the triangle is 55.74, right there above that 1 hour and 4 hour S2 pivot. And so then that would be 5 waves down, which would be either a 1 or an A. But that would mean that either way we'd have 3 up and then at least 5 more down after that. Hank's definitely a troublemaker. Let me see here. Natural gas, though. Natural gas finally got a little bit of a breakout. Again, the oil, natural gas, gold, these are things we track multiple times a day. I had told back before we had this here, so back here a few days back, a week ago, I talked to, with our updates here, talked about a possible head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders here. We just hit that target here this morning on that. In doing so, we broke out of this descending channel here. So based on the height of the channel, that should give us a pattern target up here of about $2.95.3. So along that wave, we definitely need to get above this wave 4 here at basically about $2.68.8. We've got to get above that. That'll be our first clue that that bottom may be in. If instead, though, if we turn around before that and we come on down, that gives us a minimum wave 5 down here of around 2.391, maybe the S2 pivot there, 2.369, but could potentially head down much lower than that because this would be a 1 and a 2 of wave 4 here. I guess the only other thing I could see potentially happening here would maybe be a triangle. If you count this a little differently, so you could get an A up, a B down, a C, and a D, and an E. So if you see this continue to consolidate, I would look for potentially, in waves of 3, I would look for a triangle to be forming here. And again, looking for that move down there toward that S2 pivot. But we'll have to see how it continues to play out here at the moment. That was a good move this morning off the DXY dropping down. So let's get this loaded back up here. You just look at this one, I guess. So that's this move down this morning. the DXY here that gave, gold and silver and natural gas and whatever, all that move up. Didn't do a whole lot for oil, though. Didn't do a whole lot for oil, but it did for a lot of those other ones. Let me see here. The webinar was Bush League, so you left, Mark? Oh, man. But yeah, again, guys, the whole purpose of what we do here is just to keep you guys focused on the real possibilities out there. As long as you're emotionally bullish, you're going to miss opportunities that you don't need to miss. And so this is just, our way of trying to help you guys notice when you're being, I say emotionally bullish right now because everything's going up, but even if you're, emotionally bearish or whatever, to kind of catch that. We can all do it, guys. We can all become that way. It's the goal of, okay, do we notice that we're doing it? And if we notice we're doing it, then we can change. So, yeah. So we'll see if we can get this this wave A to kind of finish up. Since we're between the pivot and the S1 here on the 4-hour and 1-hour time frames here, it's hitting my one target here at 91,855 kind of area, bouncing off that. But if it continues down here, we'll look for the S1 pivot. We'll see if we can get a reversal off that and then get a move up. That should get us right around that 38.2, which means B wave should head up to around the 23.6, which means C wave should come around the 61.8. Why does that make sense? In case you guys don't know, if we go to 32, go to the 23.6, and then we go to 61.8, you'll notice that wave C would be equal to wave A at that. So that's how we get the 61.8 as the usual wave 2 target. That's how we get that, wave C is generally equal to wave A, what we would look for anyway. Because again, if you usually look for it to hit that 38.2, rejected 23.6, and then that gives you a 61.8 target. So we'll see if that happens. At what point will I sell my Litecoin? Right now, I don't have any plans on selling it. If something happens in terms of this potentially, this thing I've been talking about, this big reversal in the economy and everything else, I would not hesitate to sell it. But that hasn't happened yet, so until it does, I'm still good long. I've got a lot of wiggle room in it. I bought it there at whatever it was, January or whatever, or beginning of February of 2017. So I got it for $2 and I think it was $2.79. It might have been $2.71. So whenever it was that price, back there in January or February of 2017 is when I bought it. So, right now with Litecoin prices where they are, I've got a lot of wiggle room in that. To give it a little time to kind of let me know if it's happening or not. But yeah, I mean, until that happens, I don't see any reason to sell anything, my Bitcoin, my Ethereum, or my Litecoin there with that. Yeah. Well, let's jump back over here to Bitcoin while we're talking here. Yeah, so Bitcoin doing its thing here. Let me see. Yeah, I think, again, still look like we got higher there. Locally here, again, potentially, excuse me, sorry about that. Potentially some bearish divergence here on the 1 hour, but again, the big up, moves up and pullbacks here kind of suggest that we should be looking at it here, in which case we've got higher highs. With higher highs there, no real divergence. But it is an overbought, so, again, wouldn't be surprised to see it kind of pull back. That all-time high sits right there, as we got there in red, at 61,724 or so. It's right over here on Kraken. And that's just, part, again, of this. We've got all these different kind of trading ranges going. We've got this one. Then we had this one that it moved out of, came back, retested resistance support, pushed out. Locally here, with where we're at, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see a pullback toward that R1 or even the all-time high here and then continue up. Let's see here. Kind of look in there. Now, my other thing. I wanted to tell you guys. So something I've been talking about for a while with, I don't remember if I mentioned it to y'all, but with Discord, is the possibility that this is actually, let me see here, where is it? Yeah, here is a triangle. So this would be a 3, and this would be a 4. So it goes A, B, C, D, E. And so I've been talking about that a lot with Discord, it seems like lately, last, I don't know, probably a week or two. So we do have other accounts looking at this, but there is the possibility this is a triangle. And I really kind of leaning toward this as a triangle, because there's a lot to be said about this being an ABC and this being an ABC here and there. And of course this as well. If you've watched our earlier accounts when we were back over here trying to figure this all out. So if this is, then overall, and I'm really thinking this might be the case, guys. So overall, we should be looking for a possible, pattern target here of, just throwing it on there real quick, right up there around 74,000, 200, 74,300, right around that area. Would be based on the height of the triangle there. And you can also see that would take you here, we're over here, would take us to this ascending channel resistance. And so you're finding confluence with the pattern target and the resistance. So yeah. But I think this is definitely a possibility of what's going on. Locally, we can look at the count there locally if you want to play smaller time frames. But I think overall, if you're going long, anywhere in this area here, ultimately bigger time frame, 4 hour, 1 day, as long as it remains above this swing low over here, this 55,460 kind of area, as long as it stays above that, I think you're shooting for this target up here of that 74,000. So yeah, I would definitely look at. I would definitely watch that. Yeah, let me see here. But yeah, I think that kind of, again, we get all different sorts of people in Discord, TWC, and as well as watching us here on the live stream. That, different time frames they trade and whatever. And, if you're looking for a larger term target rather than trying to figure out the smaller stuff, I think that's a good target right there initially right now. Okay? So just something to keep watching there, guys. I'm glad I remembered to tell you that. Let's see here. Again, this moves out through this curvature we had here. So remember we talked about how we were having these larger moving into smaller consolidations here. And boom, there goes the breakout of that curve there. So we should be good to go for higher up on that. I don't know. I'm not a bit off kilter. Let me see here. What's going on with... I think somebody asked for BNB. Let me see what we got with BNB here real quick. Oh, let's go right here. There we go. All right, so BNB right here. Got a lot of movement up here. So here's what I told Discord with this update last night. I told our Tier 2 and Tier 3 members. Possibly 5 of 3 is done here. What I pointed out was this huge spike of volume here on the 4 hour, right here at the swing high. So, if you're looking, again, you should always be learning about volume and price action. So basically your volume's pretty low as it's moving up here. And then all of a sudden you have this huge spike of volume that comes at the highest point. And that's telling you right there to be careful because there's a lot of supply that just got dumped on the market right there. And often when that happens, it tells you that's a reversal of some sort. Whether it's a local or a larger top, there's a reversal there. If we look at that with my count here, let me see here. Let me zoom out a bit. Let me zoom out to the 8 hour, I guess. Nope, got to zoom out to the daily. So here's what we've kind of been watching here. And as you can see, we had our initial channel here. We broke out, retested, broke out, pushed up, retested again, and popped upward. Same thing with this local ascending channel here. So that's all looking good. As far as the daily goes, we've got this huge bearish divergence coming out here. Now, this is a good bearish divergence on the daily. So right here between this swing high and this swing high, we've got these lower swing highs here. This is mentioned as the daily R3 pivot right here, which we've just popped above. Daily Stochastic RSI is bouncing around over there and overbought. But with this here, if this count still has one more to go up, there's a little pullback here and then one more to go up, then we're looking at potentially, here we go. We're looking for a wave 4 potentially as low as $400. That gives you the 38.2 here. It also finds confluence with this reversal, this demand candle here, this wave 4, wave circle 4, wave 4 with a lesser degree. So wave 4 the larger degree pulls back to wave 4 the lesser degree. So we'll see. We'll see if it heads on down there. We've got to get some pullback right now beyond where we're at. We really kind of need to get below this area here. As long as we're above this cluster here, this 450 area, as long as we're above that, price could still head up higher. This could still be subdividing in there. Maybe we could look at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 still to go higher here toward 684 or something there. As a matter of fact, if I'm looking at this as a 3, 4, and then maybe, see right now I'm looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it gives us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if we can look at the way I just said it there with a 1, 2, 3, 4, let me see here. Yeah, I guess if we look at this as a 2, it's going to be a pretty big pullback on that 4 so far. Around the 50%, so that's all right. That's all right. And as you can see here on the 4 hour, we're resetting to oversold and trying to cross bullishly. So I think we might have some further upside here. But when we come up toward that top, toward that wave 3 top, which would be the next one up, we should probably see similar or greater volume on that. But right now, this would give us, if that's the low, let me see here. I mean, minimum up here of about 700 or so, potentially up here around 811 on that further movement up. But it's got to get above this swing high first. It's got to get above 614 and 30 cents. If it can get above that, then I would look for those targets. As long as it stays below that, I would assume for lower down. So let me see here. I'm going to catch up with what you guys are talking about here. You want to quit your job and do this full time, Mark? You have so much fun about learning about us. It's possible, but hey, guys, man, you know what? I just want you guys to be careful out there when you're doing this. Don't jump off without having some money in the bank. You should have at least 6 months of money to pay bills sitting in the bank before you stop what you're doing to jump on to just do trading all the time. My biggest suggestion for anybody that wants to get involved in trading is to start out doing it on the side. It's going to take a while to get used to the markets, guys. You don't get rich overnight. Mark, you're welcome, buddy. Yeah, I know a lot of people make it seem like they're getting rich overnight, and some of them maybe get lucky every once in a while. But lucky, like, in the casinos is not the way to do it, right? Luck, getting lucky once is never a guarantee that you're going to get lucky again, right? So it takes time to get used to the markets. It takes time to learn. It takes time to become comfortable. It takes time to figure out who you are as a trader or investor, and then to, develop a system that works for you. So I would never suggest anybody just drop out of work or whatever and do this. I've had a few people do that, and then they end up having to go look for work because if you're on crypto Twitter, they make it seem like it's easy, guys. They make it seem like you can become rich tomorrow. As I like to say, trading is simple, but it's not easy. All you have to do is figure out, all you have to do is understand the price is going to move up and down, and then find those areas of liquidity. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to, at its most basic. But it's not easy dealing with your emotions and beliefs that you have about the system and what's going on and whatnot. That's a lot more difficult. And that's the part most people never get around to figuring out. So, yeah. What % of traders are profitable long-term? Not sure, but everyone imagines that they will be the exception. Thin ice here. Yeah, exactly. And the reason, really, guys, the biggest reason why more traders aren't successful is because they don't really go to learn. They go in, most traders, what you guys will find out, if you're lucky enough to stick around for years and go through a few cycles, what you'll find out is that, again, as I was mentioning at the beginning of the stream, retail all pops in, they FOMO in at the end, and that's, maybe why you guys got in, many of y'all, right? And so you come in during that time and you think it's going to be easy, you make money all, hand over fist, and so you don't pay any real attention to learning how to trade. You don't, you just go on everybody's emotional bullishness, which is, so prevalent there in the, TikTok and all that other social media. Oh my gosh, guys, I've seen some of the worst financial stuff on TikTok. Oh my gosh, I just dove into it the other day. It's just the most irresponsible nonsense. But anyway, people get in and they don't really ever learn how to trade. They get impatient. They want to learn yesterday. And I don't blame them for that, but at the same time, you absolutely have to be realistic, guys. And as long as you continue to not be realistic and you continue to think that you're going to be some millionaire next month or at the end of the year or something, and you're starting out with, $1,000 or 10 grand or something, the odds are you won't. Or if you get lucky and you happen to hit that level, the odds are most likely that you're going to lose all that money trading it after that, which is unfortunately the sad reality. So, Hank brings up a good point there. One of the biggest reasons for making sure that you have a job when you first start out is because you don't have that feeling like, oh my God, I have to make this money today because I have these bills tomorrow. As long as you have that kind of thing where you feel like you have to trade every day, you're going to lose your money. Not every day is a good trading day, guys. I don't see anybody out there telling anybody that. It's the truth, though. It's one of the biggest truths of trading. Not every day is a day worth trading, guys. Okay? So make sure you understand that, because so many people try to go in there day after day, and they think they have to be in, and they get impatient, they get emotional because, oh my God, what if I miss out? Or, oh my gosh, everybody else is going to FOMO in, and then I'll have to try and get in higher, and or they're just bored. None of that's good reasons to trade, guys, okay? So, yeah. I like that, Mark. I like that, Manny. That's awesome. It's going to help you out a lot. But by the same token, you guys, be careful if you've got a little bit of money, and sometimes when we have that, we feel like, oh, we could just toss it in there, haphazardly and just kind of think that we're going to do something with it. Again, you still got emotions. You're still a human being. You just don't, you don't want to lose bigger than if you didn't have any money, right? Or just a small amount of money. So anyway, there you go, guys. Listen, I'm going to get out of here. Again, guys, I hope that you're getting something out of this. At the end of the day, I'm not here to convince you whatever I think is going to happen. I give you my ideas and I give you my targets and things. Of course, they're updated all day long over in Discord. But at the end of the day, my bigger thing that I hope to accomplish with what I do here every, twice a week with you guys is honestly just to help you kind of pull back from any kind of bullishness or, emotionalness you may be having, whether it's, bearish or bullish, and just get you to understand the bigger picture, get you to think about things that you might not normally think about because everybody around you is so bullish. The last thing you want to do, you got to think about it, guys. These guys on these accounts, they may or may not be, on these big accounts, may or may not actually be trading. May or may not actually be trading anything, any size that's meaningful, in the end of the day, life-changing size or anything. And even if they are, if they're wrong, they don't care what happens to you. So you guys always have to remember that, okay? They are not beholden to you, and they shouldn't be. You guys you aren't paying them. They're not licensed. So it should always just be about information and learning, guys. If you do it right, you can be a successful trader. The ability to do it is there, but you actually, you have to approach it the right way. You have to do the things that you may not want to do. And of that, risk management is the most important, okay? Let's see here. Mark says they may not even be running the account. She says his wife runs social media for companies and has done it for influencers as well. There's a lot out there, guys. You have to be careful. And this is the reason why I don't have the following other people do. That's because I don't go out there and I don't just, tickle your willies, and kind of get you excited about what's going on. Everybody else out there is doing that. I'm here to hopefully bring you back down to earth and make sure that you want to, keep what you make. That's the whole idea. That's what it should be about, right? Anyway, guys, I'm going to get over here, okay? Get out of here. I hope you guys have a fantastic day and you trade safe. Follow me on Twitter at TX West Capital, or join us over there on the free side, at least, of the server, so that you can keep updated with us as well. I've got I'm going to be a guest on a show later this week, and I think it might be Friday. I'll have to check again. So if I am, I don't think I'll be able to do the Friday show here that we do, or I might have to change the time, and the only way I'm going to be able to let you guys know is on Twitter or on our server there. So yeah, hopefully you'll follow me there, and that way you'll be up to date if I do have to change it or if I have to reschedule it based on that happening. So, all right. If you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you. As I said here, you can get on there at howtotradetowin.com. And, I gave you that code there at the beginning of the episode there. So it's this one right here. Maybe. There it is. This 35% off Tier 3 annual. If you type in that code on a Tier 3 annual, you have to be a new member, by the way, guys, to do this as well. It's only for new members. But yeah, you'll be able to get in on that, all right? So there you go. You guys have a safe week. Remember, the only thing you control in the market is how much you lose. That's it. It's where you make your money. Okay, guys? It really is. If anybody's telling you any different, if anybody else is telling you that what you're doing here is what's making you money, you can bet that they will lose their money at the end of the day. They might get lucky here and there and again, but they don't understand the importance of risk management. All right? So you guys have a great week. You take care, and hopefully I'll see you guys over in Discord.